I love a way to start the day. But yeah, so topic conversation of the day. I like cosplay. I know, shocker. But it's true. It's fun, you know? Like, I've always enjoyed watching people, in a sense, dress up. Well, and it's something about the aesthetic, when it comes to fashion and things of that nature. Like seeing your favorite person walk through just wearing some bright, beautiful dress or some oh so revealing clothing, and you just think, you know, woof, amazing. However, there's a bit of the other side of the nitty gritty because, some people just have that look that you like, that outfit, that specific color that they put on, and then it's like neuron activation in your head. And you just go, oh, okay, so we're doing this now. And you just like rub your hands together like those mischievous little mosquitoes that you just know are planning something. Like they just see you and they're like, oh, I'm gonna get this devious lick right here. Like that blood in that person right there, the one I'm looking at with my 500 eyes from all these angles, I'm gonna get him. But no, specifically, I'm referring to the idea of, you know, fashion. Because a lot of people like to dress up in the sense of whatever modern trend or style is going on here. Honestly, I've always been a, I've always had fondness for, well, me, jackets. Can't go wrong with a good jacket. Vests, hoodies, just full fledged, especially something that's a bit tougher, good for weather, leather, even the occasional winter coat. But like I said, I'm always traveling, so going from place to place, it just kind of works for me, and I tend to enjoy it more. But every now and again, I find myself in need of let's just say a change of fashion, change of clothing, because I can't wear the same thing forever. Sometimes, you just want to look at a different side of things. Because of a few of my friends, I even ended up going momentarily goth for a while. And while it wasn't awful, not too big on piercings. I don't like the idea of getting stabbed, so things willingly being inserted into my face or ear, never my biggest thing. I know Boo enjoys it though. She really enjoys her dress up, but I think it's more so because of her backstory. Because, quite frankly, she is very. Hmm, I wouldn't even call her extra. She just likes being seen. I don't know if it's being acknowledged, but it might just be because of her old line of work that she just thrives under the spotlight or in the social circle. But, works for her. And gives us something to do outside of working on our gear and, slamming people through walls. So, I get it. Me, however, I kind of just got into it last year because, a few of my friends, have you met one of them, little green girl, she happens to, like, outside of drawing, she introduced me to another friend of mine who happened to be a tailor of sorts in her free time. She actually she works at a gaming company. So when she's not doing that, she's stitching outfits together. And she's made a few for me, for Boo, or a few other people here and there. Little things like that. And it's a nice little collaboration here and there. I do a job, I get paid, I use some of said pay money to fuel her desires of creating things, and then boom, bam, bigelow, we have our outfits. Now, typically, I would only ever dress up for, special occasions, date night, a wedding, a party, maybe even something along the lines of, oh, I don't know, Halloween, where everyone and their mother dresses up. But even with that one, for some reason, there's more of an effort when it's considered a cosplay. And I think it's because everyone likes going to ye old conventions, because conventions are fun, which I wholeheartedly agree with. I love the idea of coming together as a community and seeing a bunch of stuff made by the fans. Everything from vehicles to weapons to armor, and then people have video game tournaments, which is really, really fun that you can do where you and some strangers just hop on the next fighting game and go, hey, I don't know you, you don't know me. Pick up them sticks, let's run it. And it's amazing. Or you can come across like people who make little trinkets here and there. They have tarot cards, they have necklaces, they have little cutesy items you can buy. Some of them even sell shot glasses with faces on them. As oddly specific as that is, don't ask me how I know that. And then you can meet celebrities, you can meet voice actors, and then they even have like a little set of pictures and categories next to what they do and what they are. And you can be like, hey, I remember you from this show. I remember this voice. I remember this character. And sometimes they even have lines that stretch out a mile wide because let's be honest, not all celebrities, for better or for worse, are seen or created equal in the eyes of their public. You can get one in one line in less than 5 minutes, or it could take you up to 3 hours to get in another line just for a picture or an autograph, or just to be like, "I'm one of your biggest fans." And you fist bump them, and it's dynamic or beautiful or whatever. And hell, you might even get a little bit starstruck. Well, not well, y'all might, not really me. Y'all have seen my reputation with celebrities. Never met a male one though. Funny story. I actually did meet another celebrity at a time or another. Good old Ma Valentine. Yeah, that one. Would you believe she wrote a song about me one time? Well, she says it's not about me, but what are the silver-haired wonders do y'all know? Man, to think it's funny too because she was so passionate about that song. People were crying and everything, and yet the night she brings up, I don't remember. Not truly. Solely because I was still in my own head at the time and I was traveling. But the thing she says she remembers the most outside of my hair was my eyes. And she swears it was me, and I swear she's delusional. Who knows? Maybe she met my dad. I'd ask him, but yeah, better to let sleeping dogs lie. Anywho, cosplay. Cosplay is so fascinating because there's so many variations of it. You could have anyone dress up as their favorite character. They get the little stitching and the outfits together, the colors, and they work on it like seamstresses, just hard at work overtime, day in and day out, cutting things up. And then they just make it their own thing. And it's beautiful. You could go like, hey, I'm gonna do something as simple as dress as this character who typically just wears a t-shirt and jeans and call it a day. Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. And then someone else will be like, I'm gonna dress as this fully armored, fully like designed, high value person with all the bells and whistles and lights. And it's gonna take me months to work on this, maybe even years. But when I put this armor on, it's gonna look beautiful. It's gonna look immaculate, flawless. Like people will look at me in awe and wonder as I strut my stuff into that convention. It might be hot as hell and weigh like 60 pounds of armor in this thing, but god damn it, I'm gonna look amazing. Or, the other version. I'm gonna dress as this incredibly detailed fantasy character who has all these little eccentricities to their outfit that I know most people wouldn't really care about, but those that are huge fans of the series or those with the quote unquote, naked eye going like, oh yeah, I see it. I see the vision. It is beautiful. It is immaculate. It looks great. I keep saying immaculate. I need to stop doing that. I need to find up a synonym. There's probably one in there somewhere. I'll Google it later. But yes, the like People seem to forget too. Cosplaying takes a lot of time, effort, and energy. Like, yes, you could have the random lady who's just like, I'm gonna dress as this person but slutty, and it's just like they put on the most bare minimum of stuff. Like, I'm gonna dress as this character, but then they just take their clothes off, and it's like, well, are you sure you're this character, or did you just change your hair slightly and put on some makeup to slightly look like them in the loosest version of them, which would be, them and out there, in the buck. Not necessarily the same thing, but it tickles its own different genre or niche of cosplay, which is just, I guess you can call it etchy or whatever. Now, if it's intrinsic to their lore, like if it's a thing, like I know certain animes and certain movies and shows or whatever, like if you see them in the shows or whatever, and they're almost always in a revealing position or naked, like for instance, Kill la Kill, where they specifically harp on clothing and items, and they go like, nudity is freedom kind of thing. All right, yeah, they're almost never fully clothed or they're in like very revealing outfits. That makes sense. You know, they tie it to their lore. You could say it's people being horny and that they, made the show with one hand. That's great. It still works for their story because they actively went out of their way to explain it. So cosplay like that, where she's basically wearing nothing or is just straight up naked, makes sense. Especially if you look at some of the shots in the show. Yeah, perfectly makes sense for the characters. However, if it's something along the lines of, oh, I don't know, this is just me spinning in the dark here, Left 4 Dead, any of the, well, that's the thing. I can't even say Marvel because I mean, even stuff like Marvel and DC have fan service. So technically speaking, you can find a comic panel of them naked and be like, I'm just cosplaying as them. It's like, but are you though? Are you really? Not to say there's not as much effort that goes into those. I've seen quite a few people at conventions that, while looking very sexy and sometimes even very revealing, they have their own professional setup. They have professional lighting and camera crews. Like, you could ask for a photo, which I think is a beautiful thing. If you come across someone in a cool outfit, you can just ask for a picture with them 9 times out of 10. That being said, depending on if they're all professional cosplayers or just people coming to enjoy it, I've met multiple people I've walked straight up to and be like, hey, can I get a photo? I really like your costume. Boom. Take a photo right then and there. And sometimes people will ask you to send it to them so they can post it later and be like, hey, took a picture, met this cool person, yeah. It's exposure. Sometimes though, if they're professional and they sell their work, they'll be like, oh, okay, well, and typically you see them too, they have big camera crews behind them. They have people with them big light stands and everything going around, and then it's just like they see that and they go, okay, yeah, well, I'm actually selling photos, so it would cost this much if you did get one with me, which, fair enough, make your money. Because again, that's just kind of how it goes. And it's cool too. Sometimes you can meet people you can meet like streamers, you can meet like people on YouTube, you can meet VTubers here and there. Like every convention is tailored to everyone's specific taste, and that's why it's fascinating. You have people like they have conventions for scary movies like horror, the genre itself. They have things for cosplay. They have things for like anime. They have things for like specific shows and like they have ones for wrestling. It's so beautiful all the stuff they have there. And with cosplay, it's so crazy too because you get the amount of dedication people have to the craft of creating when it comes to this stuff is amazing. You can make so many things come to life in the eyes of the public simply through cosplay, and it's so good. I've seen crazy weapon sets, I've seen crazy armors and outfits, and people who almost look like a one-to-one of the person. Like if you see a video game character and then you see someone dressed to the nines looking almost immaculately like said person, it's like, oh wow. And that's the thing too. If you see someone walking around like, oh okay, I just, covered myself in paint and now I'm just this person. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You want that. But then you hear someone saying something like, oh no, I want to completely envelop this person. So I went to the gym. I did all this. I cut. I like dieted. Like I wanted my body as immaculate as I gotta stop saying immaculate. Okay, bring up the synonyms. And then it's like, okay, I have all this effort and energy I just put into making this, and I want to go the extra mile. I want to become the person I'm dressing up as, and it's so great too. And I do it for fun though, personally, mostly because, yeah, because it's one of those situations of, you know, it gives me an excuse to walk around in broad daylight because, like I said, some areas I'm more recognizable in than others. I'm not always on, like, my face isn't always on a poster, but just in case, you know. And, plus, it makes my friends happy. They like seeing me dress up because I guess I'm kind of photogenic at times. I like seeing them dress up because, I mean, have you seen them in some of the stuff they put on? It is, I mean, I can't, so I won't kind of concept, but I noticed. I am still a man at the end of the day. I have definitely noticed. Ooh. Now that I think about it though, every year my friend for Hallows Eve actually, she always throws together a new costume. And so I ask her every now and again too about said costumes, and I tell her, I say, hey, what are we going to wear this time? And I say we because she gets a little let's say nervous sometimes when it comes to dressing up for Halloween. I say she looks great. She second guesses it at times. She's a little bit of a bashful girl. I say like that. Them orange cheeks of hers turn pink, so to speak, whenever you flatter her. But her designs, mwah, I could go on about them all day. Cause we've done a few different ones too. There was the Danganronpa. We did one as the Teen Titans. Oh yeah, I remember too. She was a witch one time, and I was a barbarian. Has nothing to do with Baldur's Gate or fantasy. I just thought, if you're gonna be this, I want to be that, and it gives me an excuse to wear a loincloth. I wonder what we'll do this time. Ooh, maybe we could try X-Men. That's something. Ooh, or Spider-Man and Black Cat. That seems to be going around again. How would I look in a full-body spandex suit? You know what? I don't really have to guess. I already know that one. Ooh. Now see, that's the funny part too. I can get obscure if I want to. Hmm. You know what? Next time Boo drags me to a convention, I should bring her with me. I mean, I know she's kind of nervous about wearing outfits in public, but you know, it'd be good to show off her work properly. That way the people that do like the costumes can put a face to it.